Welcome to the Healing View. My name is Sharon, and I am here with my partners, Laura Sarna, Barbara Tudhope, and over here is Judy, and our special guest, Dr. Christensen. Our program that we have here for the Healing View is interviews that we do with people in our community about their personal healing journey. By sharing their stories, we hope to inspire you toward health and well-being. So now I'm going to turn over to Barbara, who is going to welcome our guest.
So we are thrilled to welcome Dr. Margaret Christensen as our guest. For 13 years, Dr. Christensen has been a faculty member for the Institute for Functional Medicine. After becoming interested in functional medicine when confronted with the mystery of her own and her family's complex health challenges, unbeknownst to her at the time, were consequences of severe toxic mold exposure. Dr. Christensen became deeply knowledgeable with chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, autoimmune, hormonal, neurological, and psychiatric consequences of unrecognized biotoxin illness. A board-certified OBGYN for 23 years, her initial functional medicine practice has grown into the Carpathia Collaborative, a large, multidisciplined functional medicine practice based in Dallas, covering the full spectrum of complex chronic disease. The practice provides 360-degree functional lifestyle and nutritional medicine, which includes an on-site teaching kitchen, a yoga studio, and an educational library where they host community learning events. Dr. Christensen is passionate about educating her clients and colleagues about root cause whole systems medicine. Mm-hmm. And so welcome this morning.
Well, thanks so much, Barbara. Thank you all of y'all for having me today. Yeah.
You're welcome. So we're very curious about what treatments helped you and your family overcome that toxic mold exposure.
Well, it's interesting because I was having all these symptoms, like you mentioned, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue. I couldn't think straight, and I went to all my colleagues, my conventionally trained colleagues, and it was like, well, here's your antidepressant, here's your pain medications, go see a physical therapist, but nothing was helping me, and that's how I ended up finding and delving into functional medicine, which helped to get to the root cause of our health challenges. And everybody in my family was sick with something different. So my children were affected, ADD, autism spectrum issues, and as well as, again, some severe, what developed into some severe psychiatric challenges, as well as everything from migraines to chronic infections, et cetera. So what I learned as I was delving into these root causes is how important it is to address whole systems in the body, which is not how we're trained in conventional medicine. We chop up the body into parts and we hand off each part to a specialist. So what I learned is you have to really look at, starting with diet, with nutrients, understanding a bit about genetic susceptibilities, stress levels, again, energy, and we'll get into talking about energy medicine. But really what helped me was learning some of these fundamental principles of how to look at a person in a whole system way, changing their diet, learn and understand how does the body actually detoxify itself at all levels, body, mind, and spirit. And so that's how I got into things.
Yeah, that's really an interesting story and quite complex.
Yeah. Very complex,
Yes.
very complex. Because I mean, you have to. If in terms of wanting specifics about what to do, there are things like having to upregulate all your detox mechanisms with things like B vitamins and using antioxidants like vitamin C. Not radically. Really improving your diet so that you're eating beautiful, live, vibrant, whole, real foods that actually nourish the body instead of deplete it from energy. And then using things like binders, and then having to remove yourself from toxic situations, and learning what you need to do to actually create clean air in your home or your workspace. So those are all the different bits and pieces that I learned, and along the way I then got very interested in again this whole systems approach to healing, and began teaching for the Institute for Functional Medicine. So that's how I ended up here.
Nice.
And it is complex. You were saying that all those pieces you just described. So, could you just break it down into simple terms? Let's just take the term of functional medicine. So, help us just understand, what does that really mean to a patient? Why would a patient come to a functional medicine facility?
Well, that's a great question. With functional medicine, we're actually looking at the function of the different systems in the body. And again, rather than chopping up the body into different parts, we're looking at the function of the whole system together. So we're looking at the function of detoxification, of the function of communication, which is all the hormones and neurotransmitters in the body. We're looking at the function of your structure, from the level of the cell to the level of the body to the level of you being in your community. And what we're doing is actually identifying root causes of illness rather than treating every ill with a pill, which is kind of how I was trained, the cut it out, drug it out method of treating diseases. So functional medicine is really looking at the whole system all together, and your body all together as a person, body, mind, spirit, and from a clinical standpoint, really understanding the physiology of how all your different body systems work together. How do the hormones work with the gastrointestinal system, work with your liver, work with your kidneys, and detoxification? And that's not really how we're trained. So it was a whole learning experience.
Interesting. And you also mentioned your environment, so it also involves environment or your social, body, mind, spirit, social.
Absolutely, absolutely. So environment is not just trying to do everything that you can to actually create a clean living environment, but also really community is so incredibly important to us as a human species, and having connection and having support and feeling like you are being nurtured or have a community to interact with. And especially when you've been chronically ill for a long time and you've been to a lot of different doctors, everybody's telling you you're crazy. When you are able to find a community of other people who have gone through the same thing that you have, it's hugely empowering, and somebody telling you, gosh, you know what, you're not crazy. These symptoms are actually real. It is not all in your head, although it is, because there's a lot of neuroinflammation that's actually going on in the brain, but it's not because you're making it up. So I think having a community of folks that you can interact with and be with and feel supported by is one of the most important pieces of healing.
You talked about energy medicine, and how has that worked for you with yourself and your clients?
Well, energy medicine is one of the most oldest healing systems that there are, and all different healing systems throughout the globe and throughout the environment. If you look at the ancient Ayurvedic medicine, which comes out of India, or if you look at traditional Chinese medicine, or if you look at Native American medicine, all of them have an energy or energetic component, a connection to something that's larger than ourselves. Now, coming at from a Western point of view, we can look at it from a sense of quantum physics, that we really are pure energy that has been slowed down by the speed of light to create matter, and that's what Einstein's equation was, E equals mc squared. That means that our physical beings, what appears solid, is actually pure energy that has been slowed down. And so the energy that surrounds us at all time, the energy that coming from our food, the thoughts we think, the things that we're listening to, what we're watching on television, what we're being exposed to around us, everything, we are energetic beings, so we are both picking up energy as well as giving it off. And so, I was very, very fortunate that I started from the time I was a young child having very powerful mystical experiences. And so kind of got tapped into some of that. But there wasn't really a place for it in how, in the religious tradition that I grew up in. And, so I kind of boxed all that aside. But I kept having sort of these profound energetic experiences along the way. And particularly in my body and as a woman, feeling what it meant to be in an energetic body of a woman who cycles, who gives birth, who has sexuality, who has hot flashes and sweats.
Oh,
And
can't relate.
yeah, and that energy. And I've just been profoundly grateful for the energy healing experiences that I have. That our body gives. We have electrical fields. We actually give off energy. The heart field, our electrical field that comes from our heart goes out 8 feet. That from our brain only about 20 inches. So we're picking up and receiving all the time energetic
Right.
issues. Yeah, and so
that's our work, and
Yeah.
that's what we do, and I
Right.
know you have experienced our work.
Yeah.
And so we really enjoy the work that we can do with also some of those very sensitive clients, and to help them to get a sense of what they're doing and how to help themselves with their own energy and manage that. So that's where we feel that we exceed in that work. Well, I think we're about ready to wrap up, so I really appreciate that you were here, Dr. Christensen, and appreciate my partners, and want to welcome all of you again to the Healing View. This is the end of this episode. We look forward to seeing you the next time. And if you need more information, please look for us on our website, www.fortheloveofhealing.com. Thank you.